You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Wepa, what I mean, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. Today, we're talking indie comics, baby, with an amazing writer, creator that has a project that's live right now, certain crowdfunding platforms. The project is called Rogue, the American Dream Second Chance. Let me introduce the writer, the creator of this project that we have on board, Rebel Comics himself, Mr. Tomassi. Wepa, how you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. How is everybody today or tonight?
Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today for a bit about your project, which is live now on the crowdfunding platforms. Learn about the project and a bit about yourself. So, let's get started. Big Dave, all right? So let's reel it back just a tad. Tell us where you're originally from and what is your first love in fandom?
I am from Connecticut, and I grew up in comic book stores my entire life. That's where I hung out pretty much my Fridays, my Saturdays, and my Sunday nights for about 3 or 4 hours a day, talking comics. Being a full-fledged geek, I read every book there was pretty much growing up, from Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, you name it. I read it, and walking encyclopedia of comic origins and stories.
But how did this even start, though? Who introduced you to the books?
Well, I was always a Spider-Man fan growing up. I was always watching the cartoons, and I forget what store it was, but they had a meet and greet of Spider-Man, and they were handing out free comics, and I was sick that day, so my mom went for me to get a Spider-Man autograph book. She came home with it, and it was Amazing Spider-Man. I can't remember the number, but it was Spider-Man versus Venom by Eric Larson. Okay. And I read it, and I was hooked. And from there, I just started buying all the Spider-Man books, then got into X-Men, the Avengers, Captain America. I mean, I couldn't get enough. I was a huge Guardians of the Galaxy fan, the original story, the New Warriors when they came out.
Nice.
The New Warriors were awesome when they first came out. I remember that book. You couldn't get a copy of that anywhere.
Yeah, very true. One of my friends, it was the New Warriors and the Guardians of the Galaxy, but not the one that we know of. You know which one?
The original one with Vance Asteroid.
Yeah.
And I remember the New Warriors that actually went to second printing, and I mean, you couldn't find it. It was like a $30-$40 book, and they were only on issue like 6 or 7, and it was already like $30 bucks.
It was
that was one of the that was one of the hottest books out there, and everybody had it. And then when Marvel had their first trading card set, I mean, I would say me and my friends, but me and my like 2 friends in school would sit there.
Yeah, at least you have friends. I mean, so you did have at least something of a tribe. You want to loan?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a tribe. Comic books in my generation were not cool and popular, and you couldn't, go to school bragging about how you went to the comic book store over that weekend. So we sat in the corner far away from everybody and be trading Marvel cards like they were baseball cards, and like, oh, you got that one? You got the hologram?
Oh man, yeah. I still got mine. I got a box here full of cards of the first and the second.
Oh man, I wish I could find mine somewhere. They're either buried in my parents' attic or they sold them at tag sales for like $5.
That's where I found them, in my parents' basement, if you will. I was perusing and I found the box and said, "Oh my God, no way!"
I do like a holy grail. You're like, memories.
Yeah. I feel like a little kid just sat down on the floor and perused the cards. I said, "Oh shit, yo."
Oh yeah, I do the same thing. Like if I try to put my comics away or reorganize them, next thing I know, there's like 20 more comic books out because I'm like, just start reading. And my parents would either come home or my fiance comes home. She's like, I thought you said you were putting this stuff away. Well, I was, but then I forgot how cool these books were, and I started reading them all again. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'll try to put them away tomorrow.
You let them know it's research, hon. It's research.
Yeah, it's research. It's research. I got to look all this stuff up.
I dig it. All right, so talk about then you getting creative. I mean, when did the bug hit you? When did you decide in your life to say, okay, I want to start, putting myself out there?
Well, it's always been a childhood dream of mine to do a book. I mean, literally since I could read comics, I was always telling everybody, I'm like, one day I'm gonna do my own comic book. One day I'm gonna work for the industry, and so that was always a childhood dream of mine. And then, I started seeing on Twitter, all these indie comics coming out, and not by just the ex-professionals, by everyday people who are just like, hey, I had this really cool idea for a story, so I wrote it, and now I'm putting out this book. And it was really inspiring because it was like, wow, I was like, these guys aren't even professionals and they're putting books out. And especially with the fall of like the main comics, where they were just so boring and just horrible, and then not to mention the prices of them. I'm old. I'm used to going to the comic book store with $20 and walking out with 15 comics and going, all right, cool, I'm good for the month.
A great handful.
Now you go to the comic book store. Last time I went to the comic book store, I bought it was when DC was doing the new
New 52.
No, not New 52. Future State, because it looked kind of interesting, and I'm like, okay, let's see how bad they mess this up. Let's see how bad this is gonna be. I'm like, it might be good. I was like, I'll give it a shot, and I bought 3 of those and the new Suicide Squad with Peacemaker in it. And I go to the register and it was $30. I was like, dude, I have 5 books. I'm like, what do you mean $30? I was like, dude, I'm like, there's still 5 more books I want to go get. I was like, I can't afford this stuff today. I was like, and for barely 20 pages, I'm like, I'm done in 5 minutes. I'm done in 10, 15 minutes. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, for this much money, I want to sit, relax with a good book, and I'm gonna have a good 20 minutes, half an hour to enjoy this. And
you want to be able to finish a joint by the time you're reading the comic book. It's you should not be done with the comic book and still smoking.
Right, exactly. I was just like, dude, I was like, all right, well, I went home and 15, 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, well, I read all the books. I'm like, now what? So I'm like, shit, I got nothing to do. So I started twitching really bad, because I was like, dude, I need a comic book fix. I was like, I need good stories and just fun times again. I was like, I'm twitching. I was like, I need my comics. And like I said, I saw on Twitter all these people just putting out, comic books and their own stories, and different versions of the comics that we grew up reading and stories that we grew up reading. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to do my own book. I was like, I have no idea how to do this. I'm like, I've never done this before. Not a clue how to even start. I had a premises in my in my mind of a good story. So I took to Twitter and was like, hey, I want to do my own comic book. What do I do? I'm like, I have no idea how to even start this. What do I need? I don't know anything.
At least you asked, which is great.
Yeah, and then luckily I met a fellow by the name of Elon Mudd, who saw the tweet and started giving me. And he started giving me advice and walking me through the process of how to do it. And he's like, well, if this is your first time doing it, he goes, you definitely need to get an editor. He's like, they'll help you develop your story and, really, really help you bring the character to life. I says, well, how do I find one? He goes, just tweet, just look for one. You could find one. He goes, or you know what? When you write a story, you go send it to me. I'll give it a read over, and I'll give you my input on it, and I can help you out a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I said, okay, that sounds great. He goes, yeah, this is, and he gave me his cell phone number. Like, we were only talking like maybe a couple days. He's like, yeah, this is my cell phone number. Just call me just text me when you're going to send it. This is my email, and just send it over to me. I said, okay. And he thought to himself, like, yeah, I don't hear from him for 6 months, maybe a year before he gets going on it. Literally 2 weeks later, I texted him. I'm like, okay, dude, I wrote a story, and here it is. And I sent him an 80-page story in 2 weeks. He's like, okay, this guy's serious. He really wants to do this.
Nice.
And we became really good friends. He was my unofficial editor for the book. And it was so much fun writing it because him and me had the same vibe, and we could just spitball ideas, and he really gave me some great advice for writing, of how to approach it without being a writer. And his best advice he gave me, he goes, treat every page like a movie. And he says, the first panel should be the beginning, the last panel on the page should be the ending that keeps you on a cliff note that wants to make you read the next page. He goes, treat every page like a movie scene. And he goes, you got a beginning, your middle, and your end, and then the next scene. He goes, just treat every page like that. And it really did work. And I kept that, and I still use that method.
Isn't it funny? Such a simple formula, you would think.
Yeah.
And yet, it's not present in most books nowadays.
No, it's not. But he really broke it down in like really simple form. So he was great. And then through there, I met his good friend Chris Hicks, who did all the logos for me. And then I met my artist, Kitty Cuss, who I loved his artwork on Twitter. He was just a regular commission artist.
Where did you find these guys? These names over here, Mud.
They were all on Twitter, and luckily we all just clicked and we got along great. And
that's great.
I messaged Kitty Cuss, and I told him, I says, listen, I really like your artwork. I like that it's a manga style, but still has a little bit of Western, influence on it too. I says, I really dig it. I says, I'm currently writing a comic book. Would you be interested in being my artist? And he jumped at it. He was just like, I've never done this before. He goes, and I'm probably never going to get another opportunity like this again. He goes, so yes, I'm in. I'm all in.
Nice.
And he put in so much dedication to the book. Like, he really was like gung-ho from the get-go on this and nonstop dedicated to this project. So it was really nice to have a crew that shared your dedication to something, and not people that were just like, yeah, I'll take your pay, yeah, I'll take your money, here's your book.
Yeah, not there just for the ride, but actually being a part of the whole process.
Yeah, like people that actually like were dedicated to it. So that was a really good feeling. Then
you got lucky for a first experience, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I mean it really was. We all became really good friends. I still talk to Kitty almost every morning, text him, talk to Elon all the time, Chris. So we became like really good friends. Elon's doing the editing for book 2 already for me. As soon as I could find time to continue writing it. I'm only on page 30 of part two, so I gotta find some time to start writing that. And I was like, hey dude, we're doing another book, right? So I'm gonna start sending you stuff. He's like, yeah, all right, that's fine. I'm like, okay.
Excellent.
But yeah, it was weird how I met him, because like he just gave me his number. Like, we were only talking like 2 weeks, and he gave me his number, and I blew up his phone. Like I was calling him easily like 2 to 3 days a week. Like, oh, dude, I just came up with this really cool idea. I'm like, for part of the story. I'm like, what do you think about this? He's like, okay. He's like, it's like 5 a.m. You're calling me, right? I'm like, hey, you gave me your number, man. Don't blame me.
David Tomassi has turned into Vince McMahon, back in the day when he used to call the wrestlers apparently at around the same time. Like, Vince.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I would be driving and I would just come up with a cool idea or a quote. And I would call him and tell him, like, oh, what do you think about this? He goes, yeah, that would actually be a really good idea. And a lot of people always ask me, like, oh, well, how did you become a writer if you've never written before? I says, I'm a comic book geek. I said, like, we've been doing this since we were kids because this is what we talked about in comic book stores growing up.
Talk about, imagined our stories, those conversations,
right.
Those
right.
geek conversations, man.
We would sit there and say, like, oh, well, if I was writing Batman, this is what I would have done with that story. And this would be a really cool story if they did this with this character. Oh, yeah, that would be. And like, this is what we did growing up. So, I mean, it comes natural to us.
Yeah, exactly. We're geek. You have great imaginations and great conversation. And that's fantastic. So before I show off the wonderful project that's live now, right, folks, I'm going to give you the link before I'm going to show you the off this project. What would you say was the biggest challenge, this being your first project that you faced?
Oh, I mean, the biggest challenge was definitely just trying to get eyes on the project. Okay. When I launched it, when I launched the very first project, the first campaign of this, I think I maybe had like 1,000 followers and half of them were bots. So, I mean, it was just every social network there was, I think I finally signed up like for Twitter. I was doing Instagrams. I was doing TikToks, tweeting like, 5 times a day with trying to think of different ways to sell the book, to get people interested in it. Just nonstop. That was definitely one of the challenges.
So that was a nice learning curve to market and get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned a lot, and and I met a lot of great creators who were giving me advice and suggestions, and because I was new to Twitter at the time when I launched the first campaign. Okay. And people were like, hey, dude, you didn't put hashtags in your tweet. I'm like, what's a hashtag? They're like,
I don't want to smoke hash. What are you talking about?
Right. I was like, dude, I'm not like, what are you talking about? Like hash? I'm like, dude, like, oh no, you gotta put the little hashtag sign. I was like, well, what do I put? He goes, everything. They're like, you gotta fill it up with everything because it'll help with the algorithm. I was like, the hell I'm like, and I don't speak computer. So I'm like, dude, dumb it down. Dumb it like way down and explain it to me. Like
using the most layman's terms possible.
Right. I was like 5th grade level, dumb it down and explain it to me.
Holy shit. Small, let's get a 5th grader, you know what I mean? Shit.
Right. I was like, not following you. But I learned so much from it, and I met so many great people, and fans and everything, and it was amazing.
Excellent. All right, so let's bring this baby up over here, because we got to start showing her off, man, because she is live right now, folks. Check it out, baby. Out of a $500 goal, this baby is at $1,300. So it's successfully funded thus far with 38 backers. A big salute to you guys that have done so with 15 days to go. And folks, yes, homie did a video. You know what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna have to watch it. Let me get this up there right now, and let's hit play, baby. Check it out. This is Rogue, the American Dream, second chance, baby.
Welcome to the new American order. Please be advised of the following. No freedom of religion. No red or processed meat. No smoking or alcohol usage. All civilians over 16 years of age must work a minimum of 40 hours per week. Anyone in violation of the new American policies will be deported or executed. Thank you and enjoy your stay. Sugar, your rules are starting to piss me off.
Woo, baby, woo, baby. Did you see that? You saw that artwork and the madness of the storyline. Holy smokes, bro. What are you trying to do? This sounded like the current news.
I know. It's getting kind of crazy.
Scaring me, bro.
People are like, so
I'm afraid Dave Stradamus over here. Are you telling us the future, Dave?
People have been asking me, like, so is this science fiction or is this a fictional story? I'm like, I don't know yet. I'm like, we're going to find out.
The way the world is fucking going. But folks, yes, it is again live right now. Again, link is there. It's also in the show notes, all right? To show some love to this wonderful project, 121-page graphic novel. Holy smokes. He was talking about not getting enough to read. He's making sure that the fans do get. So talk to me, introduce me to the world over here of the American dream.
Well, growing up again, my two favorite movies when I was a kid were Escape from New York and Mad Max.
Oh yes, bro, preach, baby, preach.
I mean, you could turn on Turner Classic Network, Friday or Saturday. You could watch part of the movie in the morning and finish watching it at night because they were always on, like 24 hours a day, just every other day they were always on. And I grew up with those movies and I absolutely loved them. You can have all your Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallones, you can have all your movies. Sorry, still the original to me is always going to be Kurt Russell. That classic line of "Call me Snake" is just it doesn't get any better than that to me. I still watch it with my fiance, and she's like, "Are we watching this again?" I'm like, "Yes, we're watching this again."
It's a great movie. Those movies that you mentioned are those type of flicks that if it happens to be just playing on the set, no matter where in the movie it is, you will sit down and fucking finish it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could turn on the TV and it'd be like, "Oh, cool! It's like 20 minutes before the ending." I don't care. I'm watching it. I already know the whole story, so I'm just gonna watch it still.
Yeah, well, I do the same thing. So movies, man.
Anywhere during that movie, and you were just always instantly hooked. They were the best. So I used those influence to write the story. I pretty much took everything that I loved from the 80s and 90s, from comics to the movies, and I jam-packed it into this story. I took every cheesy one-liner that we grew up watching our action movies with, everything. I took classic quotes from my favorite movies, Army of Darkness, even the Transformers animated movie, and I put them in there. I used them, and a lot of people during the first campaigns are like, "Dude, like, nice Transformers quote." I'm like, "I know." I'm like, I know it's from there. I'm like, I wrote it. I know. I'm like, that's why I used it.
I know my references.
Yeah, I was like, it was awesome. And it was so much fun writing it. My fiance helped out a lot too. She helped me edit the book as well.
Is your fiance a comic book fan, or you got them involved in it?
She is a little bit of a geek. She shocked me. Like I started talking comics one day with her. What was I talking about? I was talking about when your boy Zach was suing. Oh God, who was he suing over not publishing his book? Mark Waid. when he was suing Mark, when he was suing Mark Wade. And I was reading an article on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's bull crap." I was like, "Yeah, he should definitely sue." She's like, "Who should definitely sue?" I was like, "Oh, a YouTuber, writer who was trying to put out a book, but then he got blocked by a guy." She's like, "Oh, you're talking about your boy Zach and Mark Wade, right?" And I was like, "How the hell do you know that?" She's like, "I read stuff too, And instantly, I was like, "I love you."
Right there, immediately the ring came out of nowhere.
I was like, marry me right now.
like right now, let's go to fucking City Hall. Who needs a license?
Vegas, let's go. We are going. So she had so she helped me edit the story as well and came up with a lot of cool ideas. And I give her so much credit because she did the voicing for the video.
Okay.
And then it sounds so weird, but what really helped me write the story even more is at night or during the day, I would actually ask her to read the story to me. Because when you hear your own story back, it helps you like, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, that doesn't sound right. Or, oh, I forgot a word, or oh, she would catch, misspelled words or forgotten words, which I do a lot. And it really, really helped. And she would do character voices and everything. She had so much fun doing it.
Love it. So let's get over these covers, man, because it seems like, and again, this Kickstarter look is insane to me right now, but look at these covers over here. You got main covers, add-ons, but talk about this main cover. That looks fire. Let me get a little bit bigger. People probably squinting over here. Anyway, look at that.
Yeah, that cover was done by the artist Kitty. He was actually just doodling, just doodling for fun of Rogue, and he drew that, and he was just like, "Dude, what do you think about this?" I was like, "Dude, that is fucking awesome." And I didn't use it for anything during the first campaign, and so when I launched the second chance one, I was like, I'm using this as a cover. I was like, this is too freaking cool not to use.
Yes.
Like
he 90s.
really enjoyed drawing the character. And it's funny too, like even the people who I got to do like commission work for like the perks and things like that, after they were done, they always came back to me and were like, dude, your character is just fun to draw because we can have so much fun with her and like put her like in her outfit, but in a little different way, and just do poses. Like your character is just fun to draw. I was like, well, I'm glad. I was like, that makes me happy. I was like, and I'm glad you enjoyed drawing it.
That's a heck of a compliment for a first time project, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then we have my
this is right there though.
Yeah, that's my Punisher Warzone homage cover. It's a full wraparound cover. Again, Kitty did an amazing job on it. I sent him the Punisher Warzone issue 1, a picture of it. I was like, I want you to do this. And he goes, okay. He goes, you like pushing my buttons and pushing like how much I can do, right? I was like, I know. And that's the whole point. He goes, okay.
And he challenged you, sir.
Yeah, and he did an amazing job on it, and I absolutely love that cover. Yeah, that's a full wraparound cover, just like the original one. Yeah, he did an amazing job on it,
and it's gorgeous. Only $20, folks. I mean, you heard me before. How many pages you get? And come on, man, way worth it. And then look at this one too. I like the coloring on this.
Yeah. That was actually the that was actually a 6x9 print that I had on the first campaign. So I loved it so much. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna use it as a cover for this. Yeah. So I was like, I love it. It's awesome. So I just used that one as a cover this time. I was like, I can't pass this up.
Oh, look at this one.
Yeah, that one was done by Philip Grom. He did a cover for me for the first campaign. So, and he did a couple perks for me as well. So when I was doing the second chance, I contacted him up again and I asked him, I says, you interested in another cover? He goes, absolutely. He goes, just tell me what you want. He's always awesome to work with because he's fast working and just, whatever you want, whatever you need. He's like, sure. Okay, just tell me what you want.
Yeah, Dave, you're having a dream here. Like for our first project, everything seems to have gone smoothly, with the exception of your little marketing,
Yeah,
area. But it sounds like you've had a very nice experience thus far.
everything has gone good. I mean, I had your hiccups, and I've, you're on Twitter, so I mean, you occasionally meet, your douchebags and just, people. But I just block people, and I'm like, listen, I'm not blocking you because I can't think of a comeback. I'm just blocking you because I don't feel like ripping you a new one on Twitter, and I don't have time to do this.
Exactly. We have things to do. We have to get productive.
Yeah, like,
we don't have time to get into banter with you on some bullshit.
And then I have a couple copies left over from the first campaign of the cosplay cover that I got. The model was Synthetic Lynn. She is extremely intimidating looking, and looks like the kind of person that if you speak to her the wrong way, she will just spin your head around like a dreidel. But she is the most sweetest and kind-hearted person you'll ever meet. She really is a sweetheart. She was so fun to work with. And again, she was so dedicated to this project because, I was just taking ideas from seeing what worked with other creators. And I says, my character doesn't have a complex outfit at all. I was like, she has everyday clothes. I was like, I should do a cosplay cover. And I started looking through Twitter, and I came across Synthetic Lynn's feed, and she was I forget what it was, but I was just like, damn. I was like, she could do this role perfectly. And I messaged her, and I was like, would you be interested in cosplaying my character for a comic book cover? And I sent her a picture of Rogue, and she was blown away by it. And she was like, I've never done a comic book cover before. I was like, you're a cosplaying model? I was like, and no one's ever asked you to do a comic book cover. She's like, no. I was like, well, do you want to do one? And she's like, absolutely.
And he just hits them and they say yes. Oh, you have magic, bro. I need to go to a casino with me. Just stand next to me.
No, I don't have that kind of luck. My fiance does. I don't.
My man is better in the game, boy.
And she was so dedicated to the project. She took her time with everything, make sure she wanted to get it right. She was just awesome to work with. So yeah, I do have there's 7 copies left of the cosplay cover, and they are signed by her as well.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Again, folks, you have so many things to choose from over here. The main covers, the Punisher covers, main covers, wraparound covers, 6x9s. You got the cosplay John, the exclusives. I mean, homie got a whole bunch of stuff going on right here.
The only
thing the red, that's one of each cover, right?
Yep, one of each cover. Yep. The only thing I'm not doing on this campaign is I'm not doing international shipping this time. Only because the first time it was such a pain and so expensive. I ended up losing a little bit. I actually ended up losing a lot of money because of international shipping. And the first campaign, I was charging $20 for international shipping. I was like, yeah, $20 should cover it. I'm like, it's I was like, it's only a comic book. I was like, it shouldn't charge that much money. You still there? Yeah, so I ended up losing a lot of money on the international shippings because they were about, I think the cheapest was like $25. I was paying, some places were cost me like $50 or $60 to like ship a comic book. So this time around, I'm not doing international shipping, but you can get the digital version, and that's the 121 page. So you can grab that for only $10. Lost you there for a minute.
Yes. I love how technology is. Let me get
Oh
back to
yeah.
screen.
Oh
Thank you for
yeah.
keeping on going.
I don't do technology. Like I think during when I was writing writing the story and just trying to do stuff. Um, I went through I went through a tablet and a cell phone because it just stopped working, and I'd be like, "This doesn't work," and I just throw it, punch
Oh
it.
man, he had the Superman syndrome with technology. At least the old version of Superman.
Yeah, and my fiance come over, she goes, "The hell happened to your tablet?" I'm like, "It wasn't working." She goes, "So punching it made it work better?" I was like, "No, but it made me feel better." I was like, "Come on, we got to go to Walmart. I got to get a new tablet."
Let's please go. I
I was
would
like,
just
"Come on, let's
return
just
it.
go."
Something was wrong with this.
Pardon me?
I said I would have returned and be like, something happened to the screen. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was like, yeah, just like, I don't know. I just touched the screen and it broke.
I mean,
I don't know what happened to it.
then we got this censored cover over here. Wepa.
Yeah, the She-Hulk cover, that sold out. I only had 7 copies of it left, and that sold out within like the first like week and a half of the campaign launching. Like everybody wanted that. I was like, okay.
So now you know
That,
what people want over here. I mean, all
yeah.
down on that one, folks. There's still some available rewards. You can see all the way to the left of the screen. So you have a lot of great goodies. Let me put that a bit bigger again for you guys squinting, but as you can see, available rewards, whole bunch of wraparounds, the exclusives, the cosplay code, the double whammy. Give me the nudes. Wherever. Hey, you got to get it. This project is live right now. Now, something I don't see here is you're not going to do any retailer packages or anything like that to help send over to LCSs.
No, unfortunately not. I tweeted out and like I asked a couple of people. I was like, how do I even get in contact with the comic book store to like see if they're interested? I don't think I'm there yet to be in a local comic book store yet, but I'm hoping in time. Because I'm like I said, I'm currently working on book 2 of Rogue, titled Rogue Nowhere to Hide. And then I have De Silva, who does the book Liz Ray. He's currently drawing my next project called Mighty Mary.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I do plan.
On the roll.
People ask me, they're like, "Oh, well, how long are you gonna do this?" I'm like, until people stop buying books. I was like, I'm just, this is a childhood dream of mine. I'm not doing this to start a new career as a comic book writer or anything of that nature. I'm doing this for fun and just enjoyment. And I make back the money that I spend on the project. So I'm like, listen, as long as I break even and I make enough to print the book, ship the book, and pretty much pay myself back because I pay for everything up front.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, my Kitty was paid up front. Silva's paid up front. I paid all my commission people up front, so nobody had to like worry about getting paid or if the campaign didn't make that much. So I'm not doing this for money. I'm not trying to become the next big thing. I'm like, listen, I'm just living a childhood dream right now, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna keep doing it until people no longer are no longer interested in the books. Until then, I'm just gonna enjoy myself.
So talk to me. What's Rebel Comics? Is that your imprint?
Yes. I like the name Rebel, always have. I had my logo designer Chris Hicks. I had him design the logo for me. I was like, dude, I want it to look like the old Marvel logo with the M, and it said, comics at the bottom. I was like, and then it just, it said, Marvel at the bottom, and then comics going through the sides. And he's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. I was like, awesome, cool. So that's how we came up with the logo. Yeah, I just was like, I just came up with it. I was like, it's kind of fitting for my stories, and doing it this way. So that's where we came up with that.
Love it. And we have 15 days to go on this one project here. Then you mentioned you have another project coming. So the Rebel Comics imprint is going to start growing.
Yes. Yes. The next book coming out will be Mighty Mary. Like I said, that's going to be a 64-page book, and that'll be coming out next year, midsummer. De Silva should be done with it by then. So we'll be doing that, and then hopefully around the same time, I'll be putting out Rogue 2. So hopefully that will be coming out. I can get both of them out at the same time. And I have a special perk with this current campaign that I have Simon Harry, who's an amazing, talented artist, and just a great guy to work with. He did a lot of commission work for the first campaign, did all the coloring for the covers. Great guy to work with. Just and super talented, just an amazing artist. He's currently working on a secret perk that everybody's going to get because it was at 1100.
Nice.
It's going to be a 6x9 print. He's currently, like I say, he's currently working on it now, and it'll give everybody a glimpse into the future of Rebel Comics and what they can expect coming out in the near future and down the road.
Oh man, my man is building his empire. Woo! I cannot wait to see what you come up and the whole imprint looks like. Especially next, going especially into next year. Definitely got to have you back as the imprint grows. You know what I mean? There's a Sukasa. So, are you going to be making any appearances? Anywhere as a particularly at a Comic-Con, for example, or anything?
My goal is to my goal by next year is to either next year or 2026 to definitely try to get into a convention.
Okay.
Like right now I only have the one book, so I was just like, yeah, I have one book to sell. I was like, yeah, it's not really that much to do a convention yet. I was like, but if I can get out book 2 and Mighty Mary, I definitely want to do a convention. I'm from Connecticut, like I said. So they have the what is it, the MegaCon. That's one of the biggest ones over here. And that's at the Mohegan Sun.
Oh, Terrificon. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mitch.
Terrificon, that's it. Yes.
Great show.
I would love to be able to do that. And I actually contacted Lynn and I asked her, I says, hey, if I do a convention next year, I says, if I pay for your plane ticket, would you come down to Connecticut and cosplay as Rogue and come with me to the convention with my fiance? She's like, absolutely. I was like, okay.
Nice.
I was like, I'll let you know when that'll one day happen.
Oh, that's awesome, folks. You better start marking them dates in a couple of years. What? The American Dream is coming to a convention near you, baby. We have Rebel Comics and a whole lot more. I can't wait.
And then I want to be able to get my artist to come down here. He's from Austria. But we already were looking into plane fare tickets and like everything like that. And we were, discussing that down the road. I was like, dude, you got to come. If I do a convention, you got to come. I was like, we'll figure it out later. I was like, but you got to come.
You got to have that team there.
Like I said, we became really good friends. I still talk to Kitty like every morning. I message him and say, just regular BS. How's it going? How's school going? Because he's going to school right now for digital art and animation. So he's doing good, and then he's also working on another comic right now for Ronin 47. He's currently working on a book with him, who I pimped him out to. Ronin
David does more than just do comics, apparently.
I met Ronin when I was during the first campaign. He had a channel, and he also did reviews of books. So I sent him a digital copy of mine, and he was like, dude, I read like 10 pages. I was like, dude, is it that bad? He was like, no, it was that good. He goes, and I don't want to read anymore because I don't want to spoil the fun of when the actual book comes out. He's like, so yeah. And we became really good friends.
Nice.
And then he was telling me afterwards, which was really, really cool to me. He was just like, you're not a pro at this. He goes, you've never done this before, yet you still went out and you did this and you hustled and you your first my first campaign did $3,000 in sales.
Okay.
So as a first timer, nobody, that was extremely impressive to me, and an amazing feeling. So he was just like, dude, he's like, I've been wanting to do a comic for a while now. He goes, but it was definitely inspiring, the passion and dedication you had to this project. He's like, so if you could do it, he goes, I'm going to do it too. I was like, dude, that's awesome. I was like, if you need anything, let me know. And he's like, yeah, I need an artist. I was like, oh, dude, use mine. I'm like, my book 2 is not going to come out till next year. So Kitty's free. He'll work for you. Just call him and just message him and tell him that I sent you. He was like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, seriously. He'll do it. And then I messaged like Kitty like the next day. I was like, oh, by the way, I sold you to another guy to do a book for. I was like, so he'll be messaging you in a couple days to do another comic book. He's like, do I get a say in this? I'm like, no. I'm like, no.
You already been sold. The deal is done, sir.
Don't get a say in it. I was like, but just remember, you have to be done working for him by next year, because then you're working for me. Again, do I get to say this? I'm like, no, you don't. Like,
not anymore. I don't know if you read the contract properly, but there was some fine print. Funny print. I dig it, Tom, David. What you're doing here, the project, folks. Again, let me show off the link. It's right there below. All right, Rebel Comics Rogue: The American Dream, Second Chance. Right. Project is live right now on Kickstarter. So again, if you guys say that you're fans of indie comic books, well, you're getting some indie here, baby, by a first-time creator. Getting his stuff out there and doing his things, man. And you can also follow Dave, Rebel Comics. When you see that logo on the screen, at Dave 848-91465. Hopefully, it's not your phone number, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah. When I signed up for Twitter, like I said, I don't know technology. So when I first signed up for Twitter, it was like, oh, this is your handle number. I'm like, okay, whatever. And everybody was like, dude, you should like change that, right? Because that's not like something people remember. I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, just whatever.
But it would be a great idea. It'll definitely help. That way, when people look up Rebel Comics by itself or a version of that, because I know how tricky it is sometimes.
Yeah, I did change part of it. So if you do just do the at Rebel Comics, it'll still bring you to me.
Okay, there we go.
And bring me up. So I did add that in under my profile now. So if you just even do at Rebel Comics, it will bring you to. It should pop. I should pop up.
You should pop up. Well, we'll do a test, but not now, folks. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and do it. But there you go. They just added it, right? So there you go. David on X at David, his phone number, or at Rebel Comics, right?
Probably is. I don't pay attention to those things.
Right. And lastly, before we go, Dave, we do appreciate your time. So as a fan to a creator, especially a rookie over here getting stuff done, very impressive on how you've navigated and built something. You said you wanted to do it, you got it done. So, kudos to you on being aggressive and making that dream of yours come true. So with that, what type of advice would you provide to someone that's also in your shoes, for example, trying to step into the game now?
Do it. Just do it. Don't sit there and make excuses to yourself of why you can't do it. Of like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody yet. I don't have enough followers, because you're just making excuses not to do it. Just do it. Just run with it. It will come together as you go along, and if you put in the time and the dedication to it, you will see results. And don't measure success by looking at other people's campaigns. Don't look at another creators and saying, why does that guy have $15,000 in and we both launched at the same time and I've got $600 only? Don't. Success is, don't base your success on other people. Your success is that you did it, and take that, and know that you're giving it everything you have, and that's not failure. As long as you're doing it, that is success, and don't ever sell yourself short on it.
Man, wise words from the great David Tomassi over here. Folks, again, please support independent comics, independent creators like David. They are the future of this industry, all right? And he is already kicking ass and making fun comic books again. Already funded, but, make it rain, make it rain.
Make it rain.
We got 15 days left. We got a whole bunch of stuff to still do. Open up, more tiers to break down, more walls to open, and give David more ideas. So that way the Rebel Comics universe will keep expanding. Show the love to this fucking project. Show the love to David on social. Show the love, all right? That's what you got to do over here. David, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about the project. I mean, the American dream, baby. You're definitely living the dream right now as a comic book nerd.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. It was awesome, and thank you for doing what you're doing, because without supporters like you and channels like you, people like me don't have a voice and can only get so far. So because of people like you and channels like this, that's what makes this fun for us and enjoyable, because this is what we love doing. We love just talking comics and being able to be our geek selves once again.
Hey man, 100, man. I always like talking comics and being geeky and whatever other geeky tech movies. Let's go. It's the world of geeks, all right? We rule it. All right. So mi gente, thank you everybody for tuning in and checking out the Comic Crusaders podcast. Again, support independent comic books, support David Tomassi and the American Dream, baby. It's live now. Omega, David Tomassi, we are out. Hasta la próxima. Wepa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.